after a while, that will be longer. More important, how often you step out of thinking, becoming alert. There's an intelligence there that wasn't there before, and it doesn't need to call the world. You know what you're looking at without concepts. You look deeply. You also sense a certain aliveness in whatever you look at, which is no different from the aliveness that is in you. Everything has beingness to it. Everything has presence to it. Even so-called inanimate objects have a beautiful presence when you are not thinking about them, just looking. So I'm not telling you now you must live in that state of consciousness. Just occasionally bring it in, enter it. 5 seconds is fine. 2 seconds. See the change in relationships as you are able to face another human being without the compulsive judgments and labels of the mind. So you are there facing the other human being simply in alert presence. Perhaps you can feel your inner aliveness as you sit there, look at the other person or listen to what he or she has to say. And that is what happens now is sense perceptions are rising in a field of stillness, that is you. They are no longer being met by the mental screen. When you need concepts, of course they'll still be there. You haven't forgotten when you look at a flower and don't label it as flower, or don't say that would look good in my garden, or that reminds me of a flower somebody once gave me, or I'd like to open a flower business, or whatever. When you're just looking at a flower and there's no label, then you see there is a mystery there that is more than a flower. You reduce reality to something absurdly small when you think that the label can encapsulate the reality of what is there. There is a mystery that is totally unknowable to the human mind. And the mental concept reduces that mystery to something knowable, but that's an illusion. People think when they give names to things, they know what it is. They know nothing, it's just a name. It's all pseudo-knowledge. Daddy, how do the birds find their way thousands of miles to the other part of the planet? How do they do that? Oh, that's instinct. Oh, thank you. Now I know. So yes, we need the mind, but to believe that it can give us access to the depths of reality, the depths of life, the depths of who we are, who you are, that's an illusion. It's a little instrument, beautiful, powerful in its own way, but incapable of doing so many things, useful for a small part of your life. Yes, but there's so much more, so much greater depth. And it all starts with looking at something and simply be alert and present with it, or a human being. There's space in the relationship suddenly because you are in touch with the still space within, just looking. You all may remember, I may have mentioned in the talk 2 years ago, if those of you who were here, the Zen master who would never explain the meaning of Zen when people asked him. He became very famous. All he would ever do to explain what Zen means, which is quite mysterious to the human mind, People spend 20 years trying to figure out what it means and can't figure it out. Why? Because Zen is about no concepts. It's about no thought. It's about alertness, awareness. So he would say, "What's the meaning of Zen? Explain, please," said the university professor. And all the Zen master ever did was, this is it. Oh. Some people got it because there was such intensity there. This. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Others didn't get it. Did you hear my question, they said? I didn't hear your answer. If you are faced with a life-threatening emergency situation, either you would become paralyzed by fear, or it would push you into that state spontaneously, absolute, alert, thoughtless, aware presence. There is no fear in that. There's no personal history in that. There's no me in that. There's no thought, what am I going to do next in that? Because there's no time. Just that, and then you act. And what you do may be something that you never thought you could have done, but it just happened. The mind stepped aside because in an absolute emergency, it can't do anything because it hasn't got the time to think. So some people spontaneously enter that state of presence when they're in an emergency situation, and then usually then they fall back into their normal state. But it can give them a taste or a glimpse. So as you leave here, you'll be either walking somewhere, or driving somewhere, or on your bicycle. Be present. Are you there as the carrier of your personal history, plus your problematic future? That you need to think about now? Or are you there as aware consciousness, a field of conscious presence, looking, perceiving the aliveness, sensing the aliveness that is all around you, even in stones, the beingness, the presence of everything, and the aliveness that is in you, the aliveness that is you, the underlying presence. There's always a choice. You can be a walking story. It's never a happy one for long. Don't let the movies fool you that end with a wedding. It doesn't work like that. The story isn't really happy for long unless you bring in presence. Then there's, yes, something that is even deeper than happiness is there. And even the story of your life tends to improve when you access that deeper dimension. Even on the level of content, which is you don't really need anymore because it's fine as it is, and suddenly it improves. The universe becomes helpful, becomes cooperative. Life tends to become helpful. In the other state, the universe is threatening. Life is perceived as hostile. what's going to happen next. I dare not think about what's going to happen next. To me, it's going to happen to me. I'm not a clairvoyant, but I can predict what's going to happen to you. You're going to walk around for a few more years, and then you'll die. Me too. And whatever you experience in those few more years cannot fulfill you. It'll never be enough. The only thing that can fulfill you is being yourself. And that's inseparable from now, the field of now. That frees you, it liberates you from the world. And then you walk around with much less heaviness for the next few years on the planet. Instead of at the moment, humans are very heavy on the planet. Wherever they step, life gets exterminated. And that's to do with their state of consciousness. But there is another way to live. And this is it. Thank you.